while I want to bring a little more structure in my videos, I will now show you the knife making from the early begins until the knife is ready. So my first step is drawing the knife. You can draw it anyway, in a train or in a car, or when you feel boring in school or something. Then or I do it like this. Then I draw knives, and yeah, now you see me drawing. First I draw the blade shape, but just very roughly, and now I'm drawing the handle. This knife will become a Damascus blade. It will be a stick tang, no full tang, because I'm always a little sad when I see full tang Damascus. There's so many nice material, but you can't see it because there's wood around it. That's a little sad. So it will be a stick tang. I'm now ready with the handle. Oh, the blade is original size, so it's no smaller or bigger than it's drawn. It's exactly the same size. I'm now drawing the handle a little bigger because I'm not very pleased with the shape. Maybe I will change it afterwards again. Now I reline the blade, or the line of the blade. It was just drawn very roughly. I'm checking the size with my hand, if the handle is big enough. Now I'm drawing the actual blade and relining and using the rubber and so on. Yes, it's always nice that you can change your blade on the paper very easily. Later when you really do it, it's much more difficult. But the first step in knife making really is drawing the blade, and now I'm drawing the tang. It's also important how long the tang is, how thick and how wide. That's important. Now you see it's inside and not outside. My next step will be to draw some firework. I easily do it with this kind of paper. Can just use 2 fields or so, because that's 1 centimeter. And yeah, I will do some wine pattern. You will now see. It's really easy and goes very fast. Oh, the video is just in double the speed than in reality. And this is a wine pattern, but there will also be a little spikes, or it looks like spikes. I will now show you an example in a minute, and it's from Saks, and there it looks very nicely. And yes, that's how the blade will be in the end. Oh, but I will do it all the line down to the tip. Now I redo the handle, because I think it's more nice like this. It was a little too thick, not yeah, too big. And a few holes with some pins to make a line on it, or a nice handle. The second one is an artificial rivet. You can do anything inside, a star or something. Yeah, that's it. I also like to mention, what is very important is the kind of steel you are using for your knife. So this here is mild steel. It has very less carbon in it, so it's not hardable. So you cannot harden it while quenching. It will not get hard, and you can forge a knife out of it, but it wouldn't hold an edge very well. The steel with very less carbon and but still hardable is spring steel. This is spring steel. It's a small dagger that I made, but it's one of my earliest knives, or daggers. My only dagger, I think. Yes, my only. And yeah, This is spring steel. Spring steel has 0.5% carbon in it, and very less alloys, I think. It's hardable, but it will not get that hard. It will be like a spring at the end, but still very sharp. What you can use easily for knives is a file. This is not all a file knife. The blade is a file, but the two sides are a bicycle chain that I forge welded. And now the knife is dirty. Okay, now I'm cleaning it. And I think files have like 0.8 and 1.2% carbon in it, and they are harder than the spring steel, and they can hold an edge much more well. And yes, what you can also use is an high alloy steel like this. It's from a big saw blade, and yeah, it's also a very nice handle. And that's also hardable and very sharp at the end. I did a cutting test with this. It was a lot of fun. Cutting tests are always funny. Yeah, and what I use for this knife now is damascus steel. You can see the layers maybe a little. It's difficult to see even with the eye. I don't think the camera will catch it right. This steel is one steel is manganium or something like this, and the other is with chromium. So, but both are hardable. The one will later be very dark in the damascus steel, and the other one will be very lightening up. So it will look very nice. It's forge welded, but it's not pattern welded like this. It's no rose damascus or something like this. It's just wild damascus, and it's, I think, 23 layers or so. Yeah, and it would be a lot of work to forge all this by hand. A very nice person forged it for me on a power hammer, so I'm very happy that that I could do it like this. And yeah, I will maybe use this much for a knife, and then the other part I will use for another knife, and yeah, that's it. So that's very important, to look what steel you have to use for your knife. The next step in knife making is to look for the wood you are using. I put some kinds of wood here that I have at home. So this is vinegar tree. I like it very much because it shines. So the structure in the wood is very shining. This is an old piece. I will maybe not use it for a handle. And yes, this is soft wood or no hardwood, and I used it for handles. It worked well, but it's light and soft, so for the balance of the knife it's sometimes no good. This is maple, also with a very nice shine. It's the rest of the piece that I used for my kukri. Here are some lines on it, and yes, that's hardwood, or relatively hard. And this here is stabile. It's also very nice shining, and but this is not for a whole grip because it's a little thin, maybe 1 centimeter or so. This is ebony. I got this from Dictum. It's some kind of company that produces wood and machines and something like this, and you can always get good quality from this. And this is some kind of hardwood my dad gave me, like hey son, you can do a knife handle out of it. And I said, okay, no problem. Now I will see if I can. This is very hard. Maybe I will not use it for the Damascus blade I'm making, but for some other knives. And it's also very heavy. I think even more heavy than the ebony. Yeah. And it's always important to look that the wood in your handle is harmonating, so that it looks good. And like this is a small kukri I made. You see, this is ebony, the black one, and the white one is maple. And there's also some firework in the handle and some artificial rivets here. You cannot see it so well. Yeah, it looks like this. So this is the next very important step in knife making, to look for the woods for your handle.